Okay, so as I've done in the past, I'm just going to let you guys watch me do stalls. One of the topics I want to cover is riding brakes. And I'm going to use a car analogy first to try to help you understand kind of what I mean by riding the brakes. If you ride the brakes on your car, okay, you have the potential to heat them up and cause them ineffective when you actually need them. You have the potential to wear them out and actually create a situation where they're unusable. Not even just ineffective, but actually like gone. They're worn out, you can't use them at all, they don't work. So what I mean by riding the brakes with a horse is very similar to that, is people who ride a horse holding them in their hand and don't ask the horse to be light in their hand. And they tell the horse to go, and then essentially they hold the reins tight, and they're basically saying go, but not really. Go, but not really, you know. For whatever reason, often it's, you know, fear issues. People don't, you know, they hear about horses that run away with people and they panic and think to themselves, I can't let this horse have his head because as soon as I do, he's going to run. And horses that are often used in the manner of having their brakes ridden will take an opportunity to run if they feel you come off the rein. So what I'm saying is teach your horses how to be responsible. Teach your horses to be light in the rein. Don't hold your horse back as part of your riding ritual. Don't ride along with your horse's mouth gaped wide open because you're holding on as if you're afraid that as soon as you give them any part of their head, they're going to take off. If you have a horse that is known to do that, to take off, because either you've created the claustrophobia that as soon as they feel a way out, they're going to take off, or if they really are just that hot of a horse and you don't know how to get supple, soft, compliant partnership, then I strongly suggest that the work be done in a round pen. I also strongly suggest, if your riding skill is more on the novice or intermediate level, perhaps even have somebody put you on a line to where they can go ahead and control the horse's feet during this process. And what I strongly suggest is giving the horse some responsibility. Put him out on the circle. Now, one of the things that I need to express the most is that if you cannot do something at a standstill, don't do it at a walk. If you can't do something at a walk, do not do it at a trot. And if you can't do it at a walk and a trot without question, don't be crazy and add a canter. Okay? So what I mean is, go out there and see if you can't supple up your horse even standing beside him. Okay? The horse is standing still, you're next to him, and if you can't get your horse to bend around and put his nose on his belly, then you won't be able to do that in the saddle. Okay? And if you start to show your horse how to be supple on the ground, you're going to see that there's going to be the moment of confusion where the horse is going to back up, go sideways, yield, do all kinds of things but what you're looking for. And it's the consistency in your ask that will make your horse finally try. And then it is the release of your acknowledgement of their answer being correct is how you'll teach. Okay? So teach it on the ground. Teach your horse to be supple. Teach your horse to give to the rein. Teach your horse to give to the bit or to the noseband if you choose not to use a bit. I don't use bits unless the client actually needs the horse to be bitted, but otherwise, I have horses that are 10, 11 years old here that don't ever wear a bit, and two that have never ever even had a bit in their mouth. That's because, they're my forever horses. I don't have to worry about someday somebody buying them or whatever. Or if I did feel like I was going to sell one of my horses, I would go ahead and teach them about the bit. For my reasons, I don't need it. But anyway, to go ahead and get your horse supple on the ground, teaching them what it is to even give to the bit, give to the bridle, give to the halter, give to the rein. There's that. Once they've learned it on the ground, then you can go ahead and ask them to do it in the saddle at a standstill. Okay? Asking them to do it in the saddle at a standstill helps with their flexibility, helps with their frame of mind, it helps them with their collection, and it certainly helps them with their respect. Once you're able to do that at a standstill, then you're going to do it at a walk. And again, pick up the rein, ask them to soften, and then release. Okay? As you get better, your horse gets more supple. And this is going to have to be over time because, yes, your horse needs to learn how to use his neck that way. If you've never asked your horse to supple, your horse will probably be stiff. Once you've gotten your horse to where they're light in your hands, okay, now ask them to go straight without suppling. Ask them to walk off with you without suppling, okay, and see, try to be brave but also be safe. And like I said, if you need somebody to, hold the horse otherwise for you on the line, or, you think you can have somebody in the center of the round pen to control your horse's foot movement, then that's fine too. But get your horse to where you can lower the reins onto their neck and see if they can't maintain their gait. Do not bother them. Do not sit there holding the brakes. When they change gait, if they, take more speed than you want, if they offer to be disrespectful and take their head away completely and go somewhere else that you did not direct them, then go ahead and activate your hands, take a hold of the reins, take control of the horse. When you have compliance and control of the horse again, then see if you can't release the reins again. By releasing the reins, you're teaching the horse that this is what I want. You're giving them the education that they need. If you never release the reins, they never know the responsibility of maintaining gait. Why would they need to? Why would they need to know how to maintain gait when you're always going to control their speed through the rein controls? You're always going to control their speed through how much you hold on the rein. So they rely on you to just tell them, instead of them having a responsibility. So I believe strongly that if you spend a lot of time just hanging on your horse's mouth, the day you need the reins, the day you need your brakes, you don't have brakes. You've desensitized your horse so much to what it feels like to have tension on his mouth or on his nose that you've actually desensitized your horse to a very important cue, which is stop, slow down. And maybe that'll help people realize what hanging on the reins really is doing. Now, if you use your reins for balance, well, then we got a whole other issue. That's a rider balance issue. That's actually has nothing to do with controlling your horse. Now, people who ride and have good balance and really don't rely on holding the reins for their balance, but they rely on holding their reins because they're afraid the horse is going to take off. That's a confidence issue, and it's a training issue. So I'm hoping that through having other people to help you, or taking it into a smaller environment, you can start to build your confidence. And in the same time, you're going to help train your horse to believe that they have a responsibility. And they're not going to need to rely on you, and they shouldn't rely on you to tell them how slow they should go. You pick up on the rein, you ask them to go slow, and then you release the rein when they get to the speed that you're looking for. I call it cruise control. I set cruise control on every horse that I work with. Now, if the owner, takes the horse home and the horse is now being ridden with a tight rein or something that they're not used to, you may potentially malfunction the cruise control. And that's something that is easily broken, but it's also easily fixed. It's just an adjustment in the way you ride and the way you trust your horse. Now, if you don't trust your horse, then maybe that's not the horse you should be on anyway. Because I certainly don't like riding horses I don't trust. The work that I do is developing trust and understanding and language before I even get on them. You know, I make sure that they do trust me and I do trust them before I ever get on them. So, do yourself a favor. Don't wear out your brakes. Make sure your horses are supple and responsive to the rein. Make sure your horses have cruise control and responsibility. And make sure you're not accidentally desensitizing your horse to a very important rein cue of stop. Because I think the day you're going to need your brakes, you're going to be really, really sorry that you spent so much time wearing them out. Okay, I guess that's it on the brakes story.